All right, welcome to Marketing Minutes, where I break down complex marketing terms, strategies, and tactics in less than 10 minutes. I try, I do my best. Okay, so we're gonna start. What is marketing and why do most people get it wrong? All right, so I broke marketing down into 5 key aspects, and then I have 5 things that people usually get wrong. So make sure you stick to the end. All right, number one, marketing is about creating a connection. It's a way for you to build a relationship with your audience. If you think about Nike, they don't sell clothes, they don't focus on selling shoes. That is a product that they have, but their marketing, the way they showcase their products, the way they showcase their brand is more about connecting. It's about building a relationship. It's about saying, oh, you want to be a top athlete, we're the brand for you. You are dedicated, you're committed, you have this life that you're aiming for, you have this standard that you hold, this is the brand for you. It's about connecting and relating your brand values, what your brand stands for, and figuring out ways to relate it to your audience so that you can build a connection, right? Marketing is not just selling. That's where a lot of people go wrong, which we'll get to that in a second. But good marketing helps your audience. It shows them what you provide fills a need. It quenches a desire. It is more than just pushing a product. And if you look on social media, you'll see a lot of people who just get on there and they kind of push a product. They push a service. They just sell. Hey, buy my stuff. Hey, here's my store. Hey, here's my product. It's not so much about connecting and relating and helping their audience. It's more selfish, self-centered content, which comes across like very take. The best marketers, the biggest brands, they're going to find a way to fill a need. They're going to find a way to solve a problem for their audience, because they know the more people that you can help, the more people you can solve problems for, the more people are going to be interested in you, the more people are going to be attracted to you. If you go on any social media platform, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and if you look up any niche, if you look up help in marketing and copywriting and fitness and eating right, in mindset and health, motivation, therapy, if you look up any one of those niches, you're going to find somebody who's putting out some type of valuable content that's intended to help their audience. This tends to be educational based, especially when you're a service provider, but that isn't the only way to provide value. You might be entertaining, you might provide talking points. Justin LeBoy, he built his whole brand on just providing talking points, providing discussions, putting his opinion out into the world and having people comment on it. He built a whole brand off having like random, wild, or sometimes salacious takes, right? Being a talking point, being somebody who starts discussion, who's a thought leader, who puts their thoughts, ideas, opinions, expressions out into the world, or just starts a dialogue. Those are all good ways to market and get your brand in front of the right people. So if you can mix the first two, creating a connection with your audience and then providing them value, you can't go wrong, honestly. If you understand your audience, you know who you're selling to, and you can build a connection with content, your marketing, your social media, and then you can provide them value, that builds trust. It builds a relationship. 3, marketing is storytelling. People resonate with stories. People connect with stories. That's like one of our oldest forms of communications. That's how we pass down traditions, religions, past events. One of your probably earliest memories might be somebody reading a story to you, whether at home or at school. It's because that's the best way to convey a message, by giving it to someone in a way that they can digest and relate to it, because stories are relatable. They can put themselves in different characters' shoes, right? So when you use storytelling in your brand, if you see like a Nike commercial where they show the kid and he doesn't have the right shoes and he's not good at soccer, so he can't play and he can't hang out with his friends, but then he gets the Nike, somebody sees him working hard and they're like, oh, I'm gonna give you these, and now he feels better, now he's got his confidence, he's back out in the field, he's got friends. Good marketing tells a story, because when you present it as a story, it does a couple things. One, it should convey or should help convey your why, like what you do, what your values are for your brand, what your business is about, what your bigger mission is. But then also it allows you to position your brand as the bridge or as the solution, as the guide that helps the person get there. You never want to position your brand as a hero. If you go on YouTube or if you find a book, it's called How to Build a Story Brand. The goal is to always position your brand as the guide, and you want to position your audience as the hero, and you're the person who helps them get to their final goal or helps them get what they're looking for or solve their problem, right? And to do that, that's where number 4 comes in. It's about knowing your audience and having a deep understanding of who your audience is. It's not about being able to reach everyone or trying to talk to everybody, trying to get everybody to buy, because people are fickle. And when people don't have a connection, when people don't have a strong relationship with something, yes, they might buy this soda, this candy, this shirt, whatever. They might buy this product out of necessity. But if you want to build something sustainable and long term, you want to build a relationship to where they're going to continue to buy that product. They're going to continue to use that. If somebody finds a skin cream or a skincare routine that they really like, and they find this company that they really believe in, they like their values, they like what they're doing, now that skincare routine is something they're going to do for the rest of their life or for the foreseeable future. And if you can build a connection with an audience like that and have them purchase something or subscribing to something because they're going to use it for the rest of their lives, or they're going to make multiple purchases. That's how you not only build a connection and build a relationship, but you extend that relationship for a longer amount of time. It's called increasing your customer lifetime value. A lot of people, a lot of business owners, they'll treat a customer like orange, like they'll squeeze the juice and then they'll toss it. They're done with it. That's not how you want to treat your audience. That's not how you want to treat your consumer. You want to build a cyclical relationship. You provide them value. They in turn keep coming back and support you and lift you up, and you become the brand that they love and support and want to tell everybody about, right? So when you know your audience, you understand who they are, you understand what they do, you understand like kind of how they think. And this is why a lot of marketers or brand strategists can get paid really well to come in and kind of dissect or figure out a brand's target audience or customer avatar, because if you have a very, very clear understanding of who that person is, their kind of patterns, how they buy, why they buy, who they're buying for, how they spend their money, when they spend their money, like if you can get a deep understanding into those people and understand where they're at, what makes them buy, what makes them get triggered, if you can understand all that, you can always put out content that's going to get some type of results. It allows you to speak their language and solve problems that they're dealing with in real life. And when somebody gets a problem solved, they feel indebted to the person, place, thing, or that helped them solve that problem, right? If you take your kids to Disneyland and kids have an amazing time, you want to take them back because this has become a core memory. This is something that they really enjoyed. This is something you want to continue to do because it was a time where your family was all together. So we're going to keep going to Disneyland, right? You're able to speak their language, solve their problems, and you're able to do this because you understand who they are. And if you aren't sure who your audience is, I have a customer avatar blueprint for free. Is down in the bio. Go download that. It helps you get a lot of clarity that you can really use. Like I said, people that come in and do that for businesses charge thousands of dollars, given to you for free, help you get very clear on it. All right. And the fifth thing that marketing is consistency. It is about not just one post, not just one advertisement, not just showing up here and then disappearing. It's about showing up consistently. That's how you build the connection. There's something called the mirror exposure effect, which basically says the more times somebody comes across something, the more used to it they get, or the more attractive it gets. You can see this in dating, you can see this in real life. But the more times you interact with somebody, you see it at work. Once you are there for a while and you kind of interact with people and you spend more time with people, you start to become close and you start maybe becoming attracted to different people. Never do that. Do not sleep with anybody at your job. Don't do it. I'm not speaking from experience, of course, but marketing is about consistency. It's about constantly showing up so you can continuously stay top of mind for whatever you want to be known for. And this is why a lot of marketers, a lot of brand specialists will teach you to niche down, because you want to become synonymous and become known for an idea or a product or a word or a phrase. And you want to be synonymous with something. Like my goal is to be synonymous with marketing, with digital marketing, with helping entrepreneurs and creativity. So if somebody is starting a business and they want to put out a product, or they have somebody who says, oh, I need help with my marketing, be the first person they think of. And you do that by staying consistent and by staying top of mind. You feel me? That makes sense. Okay, so those 5 things are what I feel like marketing is. It's connection, it's problem solving, it's telling a story, it's understanding your audience, and it's showing up consistently. That's what marketing is. So, all right, so let's talk about 5 things that people always get wrong when it comes to marketing, right? One biggest thing that people get wrong is that the people mix up marketing and advertising. And probably the biggest confusion comes in is because advertising is a part of marketing, but advertising is just one piece. It's literally just one piece. If you create an ad, that's just one piece of content. That's one post. If you run an advertisement in a paper, that's just one piece. That's one thing it's the understanding of your brand and why that ad makes sense. It's the understanding of your audience and the relationship building, and knowing that they read this newspaper, they're going to see this ad and it's going to speak to them and they're going to relate to it. It's the strategy and the tactics and everything behind why you put out the content that you put out, or why you do what you do when it comes to your business and your brand. So that's number 1. That's where most people mess up. Number 2, second place most people mess up, is that they focus on just selling. Buy my product, here's my story, here's what I'm selling. There's no background, there's no behind the scenes, there's no relationship building, there's no connection, there's no value. It's just about selling. And this is the quickest way to end up in the business graveyard, like the business dead zone. Nobody is getting onto any social media. Nobody is reading any magazine hoping to only be sold to. Nobody just wakes up every day and is like, oh, I hope somebody tries to make me spend money that I don't want to spend. When you're just promoting, just selling, just putting out content that is meant to get a transaction, you are ostracizing and pushing away so much of the world. Not even just your potential audience, but anybody who might potentially see your brand and see that you only focus on selling. Nobody is going to want to do business with you. Nobody is going to want to follow you. Nobody is going to support you, right? People like to feel a connection. They like to be communicated with. They don't like to be yelled at or talked at. They like to interact and engage, right? So would I suggest a sometimes 7-to-1 or 10-to-1 rule, where you post at least 6 to 7 pieces of content before you ask anybody to buy something. Ideally, this helps you get away from that look that you are only attempting to sell or you're only interested in taking from your audience, as opposed to building a true connection with them and building a relationship with them. There's a lot of people out here are winning not necessarily because they have the greatest marketing or the greatest branding or the fanciest camera. A lot of people are just out here winning because they're super relatable and they know how to talk to the people who they care about. They know how to connect with people through video or through camera or by writing, and they know how to relate to what they're struggling with and what they're dealing with. They have empathy is what it is. Empathy and emotional intelligence, able to understand their audience and what they're dealing with, what they might be struggling with, and how they would feel in that situation, so they know how to position their brand and their content and their marketing as a way for people to feel better, or stress relief, or pain relief, or this is the way, this is where you need to go to get that done. Which brings me to the third thing that people tend to mess up, is that they ignore their audience, or they don't take the time to listen to them the way they should. Your audience, the people you work with, the people who follow you, the people who network with you, like all of that, it's a gold mine of feedback, inspiration, motivation, criticism. Like, that's just a gold mine that you are potentially ignoring. A lot of businesses, a lot of creators talk about themselves. You'll see a lot of like creators, influencers, people who do like the day in the life or the vlogs. They'll be like, come with me while I do this. This is how I did this. Watch me do this. Like, what am I getting out of this? Why I just get to watch you? Is that some blessing? Am I lucky now because I got to watch you go get coffee and sit at a coffee shop? Like, is that supposed to somehow make my day better? No, you have to figure out how to position the content and position what you're doing in a way that your audience is going to find value in and they're going to be able to take from. So if you're posting a bunch of like voiceovers, day in the life, them type of shits, and you're not getting much engagement or much feedback, there's a really good chance that it's because your content is very selfish or it's only focused on you. When you're able to shift that and make it so that your audience becomes invested because there's a story or they can see themselves, they understand, oh, I was at the coffee shop and the person behind me was super disrespectful. Watch what happens. I was on my way to work and you'll never believe what happened. I hope this doesn't happen to you. Now I'm invested because I don't want it to happen to me either. Like, you have to figure out how to shift and make it so that you're not putting out selfish content. You're not the sole focus. Your audience is the focus. Your audience needs to be the hero. And in order to make them the hero, you need to find out what they want, what they're struggling with, what they need, what they're dealing with. And you do that by doing audience research. Go look in the comments, go look under posts that are going viral, go see what they're saying, go look under people in your niche who are posting similar content, see what people are saying under their comments. Go ask people you've worked with in the past, ask anybody who watches you, follows your page. Like, literally there's people all around you who can give you feedback and insight and kind of guidance on what you should be doing or what you could be doing that might make more sense. And a lot of times it'll be stuff that you never thought of, or you wouldn't even have thought to focus on that until you hear it from your audience and be like, hey, this is what I want, this is what I'm struggling with, this is what I need. Then you just provide what they need. The fourth thing that people usually skip out is measuring your metrics, paying attention to the analytics, the engagement, the shares, the likes, the comments. Those are all indicators of what's working and what's not. That is feedback from the audience, your viewers, the people buying your products, the people supporting you. All of that is feedback letting you know, hey, this was interesting, this wasn't. Hey, I like this, I didn't like this. And most people just tend to ignore all their analytics, all their data, and they don't use that to make better decisions in the future. They don't use that to make better decisions when it comes to their content or when it comes to what they're doing, what they're producing, what they're putting out. They just kind of keep throwing stuff out the wall. They just keep posting stuff. And if it gets some likes, cool. If it gets a follow, cool. But you don't understand why the likes aren't really as valuable as the follows or the saves or the shares. And if you can get the views and get people to watch all the way through and they're not following, you might just need a call to action that just ask people to follow because you already got them to watch all the way through. You don't know that if you don't pay attention to what the data is telling you. Check your Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. All these platforms have analytics and insights that you can check. There's a section in my 90-minute brand builder course that goes through all the analytics, letting you know what to do, what you should work on, what you should focus on. But if you're not sure, just YouTube, how to check Instagram analytics, how to read YouTube analytics, and make sure that you understand what the data is saying and what it's telling you. That way, you know how to pivot, how to change, what to do in the future so that you can get more sales, get more signups, grow your business, and avoid chasing the vanity metrics, the likes and the follows and the views, which don't always equate to money or equate to sales. And then the last mistake most people make when it comes to their marketing is that they don't adapt and they don't evolve and they don't try new shit. The great thing about social media is also the worst thing is that it's constantly changing and it's constantly growing and it's constantly evolving. So what worked yesterday, what worked last month, what worked last year is usually not going to work. There's marketing principles and foundational stuff that is always going to work, that is always going to make sense, like getting attention, getting conversions. All of that is always going to be in play. But how you get the attention, how you get the conversions, what platforms you use, what makes the most sense, what kind of content is going to work, like all of that is going to change and evolve. As your consumer changes and evolves, the people who consume the content, they're going to change and evolve and adapt to the content that's coming out. They're going to evolve and they're going to want to see something different. They're going to want to see what's next. So if you just kind of stick to doing the same thing year after year, month after month, you are eventually going to lose out on like interaction or engagement or people coming to check you out, because you still look the same as you looked for the past 5 years. You look the same as you looked for the past 10 years. You're not trying anything new. You're not looking to do anything new. You're not trying different marketing tactics. You're not trying different strategies. You're not going to networking events. You're not going live with your audience. You're ignoring all of the tools that you kind of have at your disposal in an attempt to kind of do what you already know or stay comfortable. You have to break out of that comfort zone. You have to be curious. You have to try new things. You have to be willing to experiment. You have to be willing to try stuff. And you have to be willing to learn very quickly and sometimes pivot very quickly. This is another way you end up in the business dead zone, just by not evolving, not adapting, not learning as you go. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be your business. Make sure you are paying attention to what's coming, what's changing. There's different creators you can follow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok that will tell you about the algorithms, tell you what's going on with the platform. Social Media Examiner is a really good site and YouTube channel that kind of keeps you up to date. Shout out to Jade Beeson. She's also really solid. But keep your ear to the streets. Keep a kind of understanding and learning of what's happening around you and what's going on, so that you are able to adapt and survive when it comes to your business and your brand. All right. So that's the power of good marketing. And like I said, I told you I'm gonna try and do these in less than 10 minutes. Look, the full unedited recording is up to 30 right now. So I don't even know what it's gonna come out to when it gets chopped down. It might be like 15 to 20. We're gonna figure it out. Like I said, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out together. All right. If these are too long, let me know. If you want them longer, let me know. If you want them shorter, let me know. Because I could just break these up into 2 different videos. But yeah, great marketing feels like a conversation. It's not forced. It's not a sales pitch. It's not something that where you're constantly selling or it pushes you away. The goal is always to make sure your audience feels heard, make sure they feel valued, make sure they're getting value, make sure you're serving them what they are looking for, what they're asking for, what they feel like they're struggling with, they feel like they're needing. Make sure you're serving that to them, showing up for them, providing them value consistently. It's going to create trust and credibility when it comes to your audience. And once you're able to build trust and credibility, people are much more likely to buy. People buy from who they like, know, and trust. So if you can get people to like you, if you can get people to know you, if you can get people to trust you, you can always get people to buy from you. And social media and content has given us the ability to get people to like, know, and trust us at scale. All you have to do is show up and be somebody that's likable, trustable, and knowable. Make sure you're staying consistent. Make sure you're focused on long-term growth, long-term aspects. Don't just be short-sighted, narrow-sighted when it comes to your business. Focus on the long run. Look at what you want to do in 5 years, 10 years. Think about how you want to monetize. Think about how you want the brand to grow, and then continuously show up. Just continuously show up. And I feel like you can't fail if you continuously show up. But I mean, I guess that also depends on what your definition of failure looks like. And focus on relationships. All this shit comes down to relationships. It's all about relationships, connecting and networking with people. Once you can do that, the sales, everything, all of that just flows naturally. The money, the follows, everything else just comes naturally. If you can connect with 1 to 5 new people every single day for a year, at the end of the year, you're anywhere between 300 to 1,500 new connections. And there's a study that's been shown you only need 1,000 true fans to make 6 figures a year. So if 1,000 people buy $100 product from you every year, you can make 6 figures every year, right? So yeah, this is more than Marketing Minutes. Make sure you subscribe, follow for the next one. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave it in the comments. We're gonna figure this out because this went a little long, I know, but whatever. All right, I'm out.